In the vast expanse of the universe, there exists a bureaucracy so mind-numbingly complex that it makes your local DMV look like a fast food drive-through. The Galactic Classification Bureau, or GCB as we in the know call it, is responsible for cataloging every sentient species across the cosmos. I should know. My name is Zorn Quiblex, Senior Classification Officer, and I've been doing this job for 247 galactic standard years. Most species fall neatly into our classification system. You've got your harmless species, typically philosophers who never figured out how to make a wheel. Then there's moderately concerning those who discovered nuclear power but use it mainly to heat their hot tubs. Endangered species are the poor saps who couldn't survive their own ingenuity. And finally, extremely dangerous, the predatory civilizations that make everyone else install extra locks on their planetary defense systems. For centuries, our classification process ran smoother than quantum-lubricated gears. That is, until we stumbled upon a tiny blue-green planet in an unremarkable solar system at the edge of the Milky Way. Earth wasn't even on our radar until one of our scout ships picked up thousands of radio and television signals blasting outward like a cosmic megaphone announcing, "Hey universe, we're here and we're watching reality TV." Most civilizations have the common sense to keep quiet until they've at least mastered interstellar travel, but not humans. No, they were practically begging for attention. My supervisor, Director Plex, assigned me to lead the assessment team. "Should be straightforward," she said, her 7 eyes blinking asynchronously. Probably another moderately concerning case. They're broadcasting something called The Bachelor into space. How dangerous could they be? Little did we know that this unassuming assignment would not only rewrite our classification handbook, but also force the creation of an entirely new category. And it all started with what we now refer to in official documents as the first contact fiasco. Our assessment vessel, the subtle approach, was anything but subtle as we descended through Earth's atmosphere. Despite our advanced cloaking technology, 3 separate militaries detected us, 17 amateur astronomers photographed us, and one particularly observant child in Nebraska pointed us out to his mom, who was too busy scrolling through her phone to notice. We chose a landing site that our analysts assured us was discreet, the parking lot of something called a Walmart at 3 a.m. As it turns out, Walmart at 3 a.m. is to discretion what black holes are to light. The concept simply doesn't exist there. Our team exited the ship in what we believed were convincing human disguises. Lieutenant Grix had studied Earth fashion extensively and assured us that wearing something called socks with sandals would help us blend in seamlessly. He was very, very wrong. The first human we encountered was a night shift worker named Doug, who was collecting shopping carts. Doug took one look at us, a group of what appeared to be oddly proportioned humans with green-tinted skin wearing socks with sandals and NASA souvenir t-shirts, and simply said, "You all ain't from around here, are ya?" Before we could initiate our carefully rehearsed first contact protocol, Doug pulled out his communication device and began recording us while narrating, "You guys are not going to believe what just rolled up to Walmart." Within minutes, the parking lot filled with humans. Some brought offerings of beer and hot dogs. Others held signs reading "Take me with you" and "Probe me daddy." One entrepreneurial soul had already set up a stand selling hastily made t-shirts that read "I met aliens at Walmart," and all I got was this lousy t-shirt. Officer Bleem, our cultural specialist, tried to establish diplomatic relations by performing what she believed was a universal greeting, the Macarena. This prompted several humans to join in, creating what our ship's A identified as an impromptu dance party. Meanwhile, government vehicles arrived, men in black suits established a perimeter, and someone called Fox News was setting up cameras. Our mission commander, Captain Dreve, made the executive decision to retreat to our ship, accidentally knocking over the hot dog stand in our hasty departure. As we shot back into orbit, Director Plex contacted us via quantum transmission. "How did first contact go?" she asked. Captain Dreve stared blankly at the screen, a hot dog still stuck to his disguise, and replied, "We may need to rethink our approach." The GCB Emergency Council convened and decided that standard assessment protocols wouldn't work for humans. They were simultaneously too observant and too oblivious, too welcoming and too hostile. We needed more data, but discretion would be paramount. Thus began Operation Hidden Observer, where we placed undercover agents in human society to gather information without the dance parties and t-shirt vendors. Remember, Director Plex instructed our infiltration teams, no dancing, no matter how catchy their music is. And for the love of the cosmos, no more socks with sandals. For the next Earth year, our hidden observers integrated themselves into human society. The reports they sent back ranged from fascinating to disturbing to downright confusing. Agent Krill was assigned to something called a college campus, where she observed humans willingly consuming toxic substances that impaired their cognitive functions, only to spend the next day complaining about it before doing it again the following night. When she suggested in her report that perhaps humans had defective memory circuits, she was corrected. They called it Friday night. Agent Tuvix infiltrated a place called Corporate America and became increasingly distressed by his observations. Humans spend most of their waking hours doing tasks they hate, to buy things they don't need, to impress people they don't like, he reported. And yet they call other species primitive. The most puzzling reports came from Agent Drob, who monitored human military capabilities. Their technological development is wildly inconsistent, he noted. They can send sophisticated rovers to other planets, but still haven't figured out how to make a printer work reliably. They've mapped their entire genome but continue to bite into food that's too hot instead of waiting a reasonable amount of time. They have weapons that can destroy their entire planet but haven't solved the problem of traffic. Congestion. The most concerning aspect of humans, however, was their capacity for self-destruction. While most species reach a point where they eliminate their existential threats, humans seem to be actively creating new ones. Climate change, nuclear proliferation, artificial intelligence, reality television, each new development brought them closer to extinction. Yet simultaneously, humans displayed remarkable resilience. When faced with global pandemics, they developed vaccines in record time. When natural disasters struck, strangers helped strangers. When told something was impossible, some human would inevitably say, "Hold my beer," and prove otherwise. One particularly insightful observation came from Agent Zilks, who had been monitoring human entertainment. Their fictional stories often involve them defeating vastly superior alien forces. It's as if they're rehearsing for a confrontation they believe is inevitable. Should we be concerned that their science fiction is actually their war planning? Our assessment team found themselves split. Half believed humans were on the brink of self-annihilation, textbook endangered classification. The other half argued that humans' unpredictability and tenacity made them potentially extremely dangerous to the galactic community. Director Plex reviewed the conflicting reports with growing concern. "In all my centuries of classification, I've never seen a species that qualifies for both endangered and extremely dangerous simultaneously. The Council won't know what to make of this." She was right. When our final assessment reached the Galactic Classification Council, it triggered the greatest classification debate in the history of the GCB. The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Classification Council hadn't been this crowded since the infamous "A Sentient Gas Clouds People Too" hearing of 3087. Representatives from all major galactic civilizations gathered to witness what promised to be a historic classification decision. Director Plex presented our assessment findings, which prompted immediate chaos. The chamber, designed with perfect acoustics to ensure every word could be heard clearly, now amplified what can only be described as the bureaucratic equivalent of a food fight. Councillor Vrex of the Arcturian Harmony slammed his tentacle on the podium. How can a species be both on the verge of extinction and pose a grave threat? It's logically inconsistent. They either have the power to threaten others or they don't. With respect, Councillor, countered Ambassador Zrill of the Andromedan Alliance. The humans have repeatedly demonstrated they're most dangerous when cornered. Their entire history is written in the blood of those who underestimated them simply because they appeared weak. The debate grew more heated when Admiral Krotz of the Orion Defense Fleet took the floor. "I've reviewed their entertainment transmissions," he growled, his spines bristling with agitation. "They have over 800 different fictional scenarios depicting themselves successfully fighting off alien invasions. They're mentally preparing their population for interstellar war before they've even achieved interstellar travel." Representative Blorn from the Department of Endangered Species Protection floated gently above her gravity pad. But colleagues, consider their plight. They're actively destroying their own habitat. Their ocean acidity levels are rising. Their atmospheric composition is changing. They've triggered a mass extinction event on their own planet. If that doesn't qualify as endangered, what does? The chamber erupted again when Dr. Quacksex, leading xenopsychologist, presented his analysis. Humans exhibit what I call catastrophic creativity, he explained. When threatened, their innovation accelerates exponentially. Their most significant technological leaps have come during periods of conflict or crisis. They don't just survive threats, they emerge stronger. This makes them uniquely dangerous precisely because they are endangered. For 3 galactic standard days, the debate raged on. The classification system itself was being questioned. Some argued for creating an entirely new classification. Others suggested quarantining Earth until humans either evolved or extinguished themselves. The Council seemed hopelessly deadlocked until an unprecedented security breach changed everything. Somehow, a human had not only found their way to our secret council headquarters, but had managed to infiltrate the chamber itself. The security breach klaxons blared as a lone figure sprinted into the center of the council chamber. Guards converged, weapon appendages raised, but Council Chair Zixel raised all 7 of her limbs. Behold, let's see what it wants. The human stood there, breathing heavily, wearing what appeared to be a stolen maintenance uniform and a badge that read Jeff. He looked around at the assembled alien dignitaries with wide eyes but, remarkably, showed no signs of terror. So, said the human, who we would later learn was actually named Max Tucker, a janitor at our secret Earth observation base who had stowed away on a supply shuttle. You guys are deciding the fate of humanity without actually talking to any humans. That's like reviewing a restaurant without tasting the food. The chamber translators worked overtime as Max continued, now addressing the entire council with surprising confidence for someone who had just discovered that aliens existed. Look, I get it. We're messy. We're contradictory. We create incredible art and terrible reality shows. We split the atom and still can't agree on whether a hot dog is a sandwich. But here's the thing, our greatest strength isn't our technology or our military. It's the fact that we contain multitudes. Max pointed to the assessment report hovering in holographic form. You say we're endangered? You're right, we've got climate change, nuclear weapons. TikTok challenges, we're constantly on the brink of disaster. You say we're dangerous? Also right. We went from first flight to landing on our moon in just 66 years. Imagine what we could do with some of your technology. The council chamber had fallen completely silent, a rare event in itself. But here's what your report missed. Max continued. We're at our most creative, our most innovative, and yes, our most dangerous when we're trying to save something we love. Our planet, our families, our ridiculous sports teams, our right to post cat videos. When we're backed into a corner, we don't just fight back, we reinvent the corner. Admiral Krotz bristled. Are you threatening us, human? Max laughed, actually laughed at the 7-foot reptilian admiral. Threatening? No, I'm inviting you. Humanity is messy, but we throw the best parties in our solar system. Granted, we're the only ones throwing parties in our solar system, but still, help us fix our problems, and you'll gain allies who turn preventing their own extinction into an art form. Chair Zixel leaned forward. And if we classify you as extremely dangerous and restrict your development? Max's expression turned serious. Then you'll have a planet full of ingenious, stubborn primates who love nothing more than proving authority figures wrong. They're working day and night to join you out here, probably out of spite as much as curiosity. Is that really the first impression you want? The council chamber erupted in overlapping alien languages as members conferred urgently with their delegations. After 20 minutes of chaos, Chair Zixel called for order. In my 3 centuries chairing this council, I have never witnessed anything like today's events, nor heard an argument so unconventional. Yet in his unorthodox way, this human has demonstrated precisely why standard classification fails in Earth's case. She paused dramatically. I propose a new dual classification, never before assigned, endangered, extremely dangerous. The motion passed with only 3 dissenting votes, and just like that, humanity gained its unprecedented status in the galactic community. The dual classification of humans as both endangered, extremely dangerous sent shockwaves through galactic society. Some species initiated immediate trade negotiations, betting that befriending humans early would pay dividends later. Others fortified their borders and initiated human language and culture studies. Know thy potential enemy, after all. The most significant change came from the Galactic Conservation Initiative, which began covert operations to help humans address their existential threats without them knowing. Suddenly, breakthrough technologies in renewable energy, carbon capture, and sustainable agriculture began emerging from seemingly unconnected researchers across Earth. Human scientists who happened to leave their notes open overnight would find computational errors mysteriously corrected in the morning. Meanwhile, the Galactic Defense Consortium established the Human Monitoring Protocol, with emergency response plans ranging from diplomatic welcome to evacuate the quadrant. The fact that both organizations acted simultaneously only reinforced the wisdom of our dual classification. As for Max Tucker, he was returned to Earth with modified memories and a newfound passion for environmental activism and international cooperation. His sudden insights into complex global problems made him a rising political star, though he could never quite explain his recurring dreams about a room full of aliens arguing in 7 dimensions. 5 Earth years later, I find myself back on this peculiar blue planet, leading a long-term observation team. Humans have begun serious discussions about their first Mars colony. Technological progress continues to accelerate. Last week, a child in Portugal looked directly at me, despite my cloaking technology, and asked why my skin was green. I told her it was a rare condition, and she offered me her ice cream cone to make me feel better. That's humanity in a nutshell. They might accidentally destroy themselves. They might eventually challenge galactic power structures, but they'll offer you ice cream either way. Director Plex still sends me messages asking if we made the right decision with the dual classification. I always send the same reply: the classification isn't about being right, it's about being prepared. In my latest report to the Council, I concluded with an observation that has since become famous in classification circles. Humans are the only species we've encountered who regard both their extinction and their cosmic significance as equally impossible outcomes and are determined to disprove both assumptions. The universe has never seen anything quite like them. And whatever happens next, I'm fairly certain the universe will never forget them either. Perhaps that's what makes humans so uniquely, classifiably human. Indeed. I see.